called quantum cryptography. Do anybody know what that is? You're going to hear very soon.
Cryptography has been in front of us our entire lives, and most people have no clue. So let's take the Freemasons, the compass and square, and the G is on it, right? So quantum is just quantifying anything. And when you take the alphabet, which is 26 letters, and you cut it in half, it would be 13. So a condensed version of the alphabet would end at M in the 13th position. And then if you want to quantify it again, you would find the midpoint between A and M, and it would be G. That's why the compass and square has the G. And that's why the Masons, the M, that's why it's positioned in the middle of our alphabet. Because this whole cryptography or coded language, or a language that needs a key, which is actually the definition of the word cryptography, it's a hidden message, and it's basically useless to anybody unless you have the key. The knowledge behind the math in an alphabet itself is occult knowledge. It's hidden. People don't know this stuff. Like, if you go back to Hebrew, like I'm talking about the 17th position in English, that's a form of cryptography. Because once you understand the triangular number for that position, what happens is you're creating a geometric shape with numbers, and patterns are created. And basically everything is itself when it's quantified. So if you looked at a triangle, mathematically, when that triangle grows and the numbers get bigger towards the bottom, there's actually an upside down triangle mathematically inside of that upright triangle. Same thing works with a hexagon, a pentagon. It's literally the shape. You're looking at it upright. And then in the center of that shape is that exact shape, but inverted, upside down. And then when you zoom in, it does it again. So that's basically what the 17th position is. It's this geometric shape that creates another geometric shape that has a mirror position, which is our whole alphabet, 351, which is just 153 in reverse. It's the mirror of it. That's why the Q posts, they talk about think mirror, because the Hebrew alphabet, the majority of the alphabet is actually one shape that is being viewed from 11 different dimensions, basically. So, and then other shapes don't quite fit that, but the shapes of the letters are relevant. It gives you an understanding of like this holographic effect, because basically everything in reality has that. Same thing with our alphabet. Another way to look at it is a 27-letter alphabet, which would be Hebrew, which is 22 letters. 5 letters are used in a secondary way. Now you get 27 there. So what happens is, in English, you basically have a reflective point at 17 to 26, about 2/3 into the alphabet. You have this flip where it mirrors. Now, when you add a letter to an alphabet, Hebrew, say, right, 27, what happens is that math will shift. And what happens in Hebrew is you actually end up with a center point that basically mirrors out to the 12th and the 18th position. Now just think about that, 12 and 18. When that's translated to English, that's left and right, because that's literally how these alphabets work. It's their literal, so 12 and 18, I'm not sure if those exactly mirror themselves, the letters themselves. But mathematically, when you do gematria in Hebrew, you end up with 102 and 201. So in English, it's 153351. In Hebrew, it's 102, 201. Now, before the event we had in 2020, there was an event, 201. What that is that's a nod mathematically to the people that understand it. And then the event itself was official on 311. When you understand different base counting systems, you are quick to understand that 201 is 311 in base 8 counting instead of base 10. This is stuff that the average person does not know. But when you look at events in history and you have an understanding of the math behind it and realize that everybody that formed this country was a Mason, the people that are running current things are connected. It's like, it's not even like it's just the Masons. What it is it's a level of knowledge, whatever you call yourself, it doesn't matter. But you're in the know. And that's why, like, 201 is just, they did it to death. 201, the 201st day of 1969 was July 20th when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon. And I'm sitting here telling you that these people, they're speaking and using reflective times, dates, number patterns, words. The person who walked on the moon first, his name was Neil Armstrong. So if you write out Neil A, and then you actually mirrored it backwards, it's alien.